Alright, YouTube, it is Mr. Mean coming at you this fine Sunday afternoon. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm going to take the glasses off because of the glare. We'll do housekeeping at the end of the video. And I've got a special shout out to one of my players who did something really cool. So I want to make sure to give props where props is due. This is a special video. This is going to go over a couple of things. One, the awesome folks over at Troll Lord Games, as well as I've seen a couple. I don't want to say it's trending right now on social media, but it's real popular to complain about games not being well supported or players. And I don't want to point fingers here, but I gotta call out the 800-pound gorilla in the room. D&D players complaining about how WotC's not, like where's the Greyhawk setting, where's the Dragonlance setting, where's the Dark Sun setting, like there's not enough setting material for them for their favorite setting. Now, that is somewhat of a legitimate complaint, but here's the thing, guys: vote with your dollars. If the game's not doing what you want it to do, find another genre in that field. I mean, D&D is very popular. I'm not a huge fan of D&D. Everybody knows that. But it's the grandfather of all the games. Do I like 5th edition, current 5th edition? No, I don't. I do love Critical Role, but I watch Critical Role for the acting, and I'm like 15 episodes behind on season 3, so I can't even call myself a true critter right now because I'm so far behind. But I've been running a lot of games myself. I have every other Friday night Warhammer campaign that just wrapped up. We may play 2 more sessions. I haven't decided. I don't want to say I've lost my motivation, but I've lost my motivation. We've completed the story arc. We've done what they set out to do. Their short-term group mission was to break the Stevedores Guild, which they did. They had a big epic climactic battle at the end with the head Stevedore, and they dropped him like a bad habit. It was great. It was a lot of fun. The weasel of the Stevedores got away and is now in charge, but also knows that the players are not to be trifled with, and so things have settled back down. If you guys want to hear a more comprehensive telling of that Warhammer campaign, drop some notes down in doobly-doo. I do read all the notes. I get notified every time somebody posts a comment on any of my YouTube videos, and I go in and I look at them right away, and I try to comment on all of them as able. But when you've got over 400 videos up, sometimes that's kind of hard to do. But I try to, and I try to mention the person specifically if they've made a comment. But the purpose of this video is to talk about a setting that is rich, in-depth, and probably one of the best written settings and diverse settings that I've come across in a long time. And I'm ashamed of myself because it has taken me over 10 years to find it. I knew about it, but I didn't buy it. I didn't look for it. I didn't go out of my way to find the products. And I too was in that group of like, geez, I really want an awesome setting for my RPG game, whatever game of the week it is. And I'm not getting it from, publisher X. And so, I'm guilty of that complaining too. So this is just a wake-up call and an observation to fellow game masters and players that there are settings out there. You just got to open your eyes. You just got to look, be open. I saw a post on the GM forum on Facebook. I think it was yesterday or the day before, that the guy said was complaining that his GM is switching settings on him, on the group, and he's not happy about it. And of course, the first thing everybody asked, is, did you talk to your GM? Did you say, hey, I don't want to play in setting X? And he replied, no. Well, that's not the GM's fault. If you don't tell the GM what kind of game you're looking for, I don't know about how anybody else GMs, but when I'm putting together a campaign, I have a premise in mind. I have an overarching story that I want to happen. The first thing I do is talk to my players. I don't give away any plot lines or anything, but I tell them what I'm looking for. There's something going down in Ubersreich one of the guilds is stepping up, and you guys are going to get involved in it. Is that something that intrigues you? There's going to be some intrigue. There's going to be some investigation. There's obviously going to be combat. I tend to run very combat focused games. I'm not real big into mysteries and horror. That's not my jam. My jam is to get the players mixed in, get them into combats, and see how they fare and how well their characters deal with the situation. And I put them in some stressful situations and stuff. And so, of course, all the other people that are on that Facebook channel or Facebook group, said a lot of the same things I'm saying right now. And the player was like, no, I didn't say anything, and no offense to that player. But your GM, is as good as most GMs are. And I mean, there are bad GMs, sure, but GMs do what we do for the love of the game. We like telling a story. We like being the center of attention. Most GMs will be very outgoing, charismatic characters in and of themselves. Usually loud voices, usually extroverted, usually, in your face, very aggressive in some manner type of person. Not all, but most. And I'm definitely, very aggressive and very assertive, and I will say things that I feel, and, if you don't like it, tough. But, I've gone through many game groups. I've gone through many players who have said, you're not for me, I can't play with you, thanks, but no thanks. And you know what? I never take offense to that, because I expect my players to do that, because I would do the same. That's why I don't play in a lot of games, because I know that I have a very, type A in your face personality. And so I'm not going to force myself upon somebody or force myself into something that I'm not having fun. If I go sit down to a D&D game because I want to play D&D, it's because I want to play D&D. And if the GM isn't doing a good job, I'm going to let them know pretty politely. I mean, I pull them aside and say, hey, and I don't think I'm being a jerk about it, because I've got over 40 years. My mom was my very first GM when Dungeons and Dragons came out, and she brought home the little white pamphlets for chainmail, and she brought it home to me, and we cut out the chits, and we read the books, and then my mom ran me through a couple scenarios, shall we say, and then my mom said, find your friends and play. You know what to do now. Have a good time. My mom was a big fantasy reader, and so for her, it wasn't that big of a stretch, and she was a nurse, so she was used to nurturing and caring, and of course, she was a mother of 7 kids. So yeah, my mom was the bomb. Anyway, she is passed and has been gone for about 8-9 years now. So anyway, props to you, Mom. Love you. But the point being is that don't settle for second best. If you're unhappy with the way your players and or your GM are acting, you need to be proactive. You need to step up and say something. Now, you can be polite. You can be tactful. We're all adults, or most of us are adults. If you need help talking to your GM and you're a minor, or you need help talking to your minor players, talk with the other players or talk with your parents or something like that, and just say, look, I'm not having fun. But say why. I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but I also want people to understand that role-playing is a great hobby. It's a great way to express yourself. It's a great way to deal with your feelings and your emotions that are going on in your life. I suffer from PTSD, and my wife will be the first to tell you that if I don't run a game in about 2 weeks, I start turning into a jerk. And she's like, when's the last time you ran a game or played a game? And I'm like, oh, no. She's like, go run a game. And then all of a sudden I'm better. It's a form of depression that affects me and how I deal with things. And so it's my therapy. So there's polite ways to talk to people. And, if you need help with that, and it's human nature for people to get defensive when you tell them they're doing something wrong in your eyes. So be careful of how you word it. Hey, John, about the game, I'm not having a good time, and here's why. Now, you're not saying, John, you're running a shitty game, or John, you're running a bad game. You're saying, hey, I'm vested in your game. I'm hanging out. I'm giving you my time, and I'm not having as much fun as I feel I should, and here's why. Now you're not attacking the person. You're giving them reasons why things aren't working. So to kind of address that, and like I said, the comments that I saw, I wanted to go over a product that I feel has become very near and dear to me, and the company has become one of my go-to companies. I'm really excited with the products that they make. Their customer support is fantastic. Their community is fantastic. And that is Troll Lord Games. And I'll put all the links down in the doobly-doo to their Discord and their webpage. They have a great store. They are veteran friendly. They are U.S. friendly. I think they're in Alabama. I can't remember exactly where they are. They're Midwest somewhere, I believe. I can't remember. But it's just an amazing company. Their customer service is bar none. If you order something and it's taken a couple of days, all you gotta do is shoot them a message on Discord or an email, and somebody will get back to you, and they'll be like, oh, let me look into that. Or I think they're in a kind of a small town, and their post office is a little understaffed right now. So they even put a message up on their Discord that said, hey, orders are, the USPS staff is having some staffing issues, and so we're shipping out stuff weekly, almost daily. If you don't get a tracking message, it's not because we didn't send it, it's because the post office is short-staffed and they're taking shortcuts. So at least you have some clue, and you know that at least you can say, okay, well, I haven't gotten a tracking notice, but I placed this order on Monday. Today's Thursday. Did it go out? And they'll be able to tell you because they get receipts for everything they do and stuff like that. So I wanted to go over their product and talk about their setting of Aired, which is their default fantasy world. It's in depth. It's, dare I say, profound. It's well written, and it is definitely well supported. Their books are reasonably priced. I don't know if this book is gonna show the cost. Of course it doesn't. Let's see here. I'm trying to find something that's reasonably priced. Yeah, well, that's not a fair set. Oh, you know what? We'll go right here. Yeah. So, bear with me. I'm getting my visuals prepared. So here's Pathfinder 2nd Edition, the Game Mastery Guide. This is your how to be a GM. This is different settings and things that you can do, different switches, if you will, to promote your game, to set your game up, to make traps, to make encounters, and all that fun stuff. And this retails for $49.99. Now, it's got a nice cover. It's glossy. It's stitched, sewn, and glued for the. It's hardback. It's a beautiful book. I've used it many, many times. I love it. It's a great book. I think every GM should read this book. And to be honest, I think every GM should read whatever GM advice book is in their arsenal for their games, or even not for their games, because they all have something new that you will catch and you'll be like, oh, I didn't know that, or I don't remember that. So this is a great resource. Game Mastery Guide, Dungeon Master's Guide, Castle Keeper's Guide, whatever you want to call it. So $49.99. This is the, oh, wait a minute, if we're doing apples to apples, this is $49.99 from Paizo Direct. I believe it is printed in China, and it is 255 pages. And yes, it is printed in China. So no negatives, no positives here, just facts. 255 pages, $49.99. It's $50 for this book, plus tax. Okay. The Castle Keeper's Guide. Sewn, stitch, and glued. Hardback. We got some maps here. We won't include the maps for page count. 363 pages. 363 pages. So we've got over 100 pages. 255 to 363. This is printed in 2021, Troll Lord Games. I'm trying to see where it was printed. I believe it was printed in the US, but do not quote me. I don't want to misspeak. And it's got the OGL in it. but it doesn't say where it was printed. I believe these are printed in the U.S. though. I believe. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure they are printed in the U.S. I remember reading somewhere that their books were printed. Both have a comprehensive index. Both have a excellent table of contents. Yeah, I can't see it on this one, but 100 pages more. No colored. Pathfinder 2nd Edition Game Mastery Guide is full color on the inside. This is not. All of the Castle Keeper or Castles and Crusades books are black and white on the inside with some splashes of color, but mostly it's black and white out. So there's a nice color page. You know, nice color page. I forgot I have my Rode mic on. I don't need to worry about covering up the mic. And this does have a fair amount of color art in it. So it doesn't have as much art as the Game Mastery Guide, but it provides the same purpose, the same guidelines, the same guidance. I shouldn't say guidelines, the same guidance that the Game Mastery Guide does. This is your GM book. In Castles and Crusades, the GM is called the Castle Keeper. So this is your Castle Keeper Guide. Say that 5 times fast. Okay. That's my son coming in. So obviously very cool color, kind of an homage to the old DMG covers and stuff. You'll see that it's a running theme. There's always a take on the old Dungeon Master screen. I don't believe... Yeah. So, oh, that's the Monster Manual. I do have the, I don't want to say collector's edition, but the metallic covers of the 5th edition books. So there's the one with Vecna on the cover. And here we have a big giant monster, so you kind of get the theme. And the players are in the. Well, you can't actually see the players in this one, but it's assumed they're down below. But you get the idea. So see, I don't hate D&D that much. I like it a little bit. I own the books, right? I paid over $100 and something for those. So, and they are beautiful. Don't get me wrong. WotC's production value is top notch. So here's the Castle Keeper's Guide. This has so much information in it for the GM, or for the Castle Keeper GM, but it even has info in it for the players. This, of course, it has all the standard stuff of, you know, how to run X type of campaign, how to deal with X type of players, because we all run with those players. So all the basic information, and then a lot of stuff that's very specific to Castles and Crusades. That is the logo for Castle and Crusades right there. So if you see that logo, you know it's definitely a Castles and Crusades book. Put it right there. That's the big black and white logo. So Castle Keeper's Guide. Phenomenal. So you see, oh, and the price for the Castle Keeper's Guide, $49.99. So you get 100 pages more. In my opinion, you get a very, very well-written book that, to be honest, blows the Game Mastery Guide away, or the D&D DMG Guide away, for $50 as opposed to $60 for the other books. Very cool art in it. Now, it admittedly doesn't have as much art as the other books, like the DMG for 5th edition or the Pathfinder 2nd edition book, but still very cool art, very well done, very well organized. Hardly any typos or grammatical errors in here. Now, this is, I think, the 7th or 8th printing. It's the latest version, so I'm not quite sure. It doesn't say. Yeah, it doesn't say. But I think this is either 7th or 8th edition of the... Oh, this is the 3rd printing. So this isn't as high as the Player's Handbook. So this is the 3rd printing, but it is the latest edition. So now we're going to go through some of the books. I don't have everything, but I have pretty much close to everything. When you want... What do you need to get into Castles and Crusades? If you like D&D 3.5, you like D&D 5th edition, and you like old school AD&D and OSR types games, this is going to have a little bit of everything in it for everyone. It is not any of those versions of the game in and of itself. It is its own game. It does give a lot of throwback feels to earlier editions of Dungeons and Dragons are your fantasy games, but this is its own setting, its own world, and it's a pretty solid mechanic. Every book does have a copy of the OGL in the back of it, the Open Gaming License from WotC, because they are licensed out to use the Open Gaming License. So it's a D20 based game. It doesn't have skills. Your player has class abilities. It's a class system. It's more harkening back to like AD&D and first edition D&D, wherein you're going to have pretty much low hit points. You're going to have, if the GM doesn't build the scenario properly, you could very easily have a party kill, but just by a bunch of first level characters facing a bunch of goblins, because the goblins only have, have 1 to 6 hit points on average. But if there's 10 or 15 goblins and there's 4 party members, there's a good chance that one of your players is going to go down if they don't work strategically. So it is what I would say a more lethal game. It's not heroic in its mechanics like 5th edition is, or Pathfinder 2nd edition, or even Pathfinder 1st edition. Your characters, there's viable character casualty in this game. But I like that. The players should feel, think about it this way. You're a U.S. soldier going into Kuwait in 2000. You're going into a place that doesn't want you and will probably kill you on sight. Your players are going into a dungeon filled with monsters that don't want you there and see you as either predator or prey. And either way, they don't want you there, and so they're going to try to kill you. There's very little negotiation. You might run across some intelligent monsters that realize that you're tougher than them, and so they may parlay with you. But for the most part, what do monsters do in every typical fantasy game? They attack the party members, and they will kill them if they don't prepare well. So this game really is punishing in that aspect, and I don't see that as a negative. There are consequences to your actions, and you should. I'm sorry, guys, my hair is driving me nuts. I got a little tuft of hair right there. And the players have to be smart about what they do. So, what do you need as a player to get into this game? How much money do you need to spend? How much effort do you need to spend to get into this game? Well, I'm going to drop it down. Besides your polyhedral dice that, to be honest, you don't even need. You can borrow those from your buddies. Your castle keeper may have an extra set. So all you need is $39.99. The Player's Handbook. This is the 8th edition. You can see it's kind of an homage to the old cover. They're pulling the crystal or jewel out of the statue's eyes, which is reminiscent of the old AD&D books. We have a beautiful inside cover with some cool art. This is the 8th printing. It's the art in it, in my opinion, is fantastic. And even better, you don't even need to spend $29.99 to get this book. But I'll give you two options. Option A, download the 7th edition off of my Discord for free. I reached out to the guys at Troll Lord Games, basically Mr. Chenault himself, and asked if I could post the free edition with a link to his site. And he said, "Go for it, brother." So you can't beat that. So yeah, if you go to my Discord, links down, there's a permanent link down in the doobly-doo, the show notes. You can go to Mr. Mean Speaks Discord, and you can download the 7th edition, which is the version before this. The rules and the mechanics are the same. All they do every time they print a new edition is they just clean up, add new art, and rearrange text and stuff and make it a little cleaner. And every time they get it a little bit better. So the 7th edition book is phenomenal, and it's a free PDF on their website, Troll Lord Games website. It's free right now. You can go get it for free. Nada, niet, nandishka, zip, zola. It's yours for a download. Or you can, like I said, you can go over to my Discord, and you can scroll up a little bit in the main Let's Talk About Games, and you'll see that I posted a link. I might make it a permanent pin and put it on the pins. In fact, I will do that. So yeah, you can get into the game for absolutely free. Second option. This is the one that really drove it home for me and made me buy a lot of books. 50% discount to veterans. Send them your DD-214 redacted, or your retirement card, or your VA card, whatever you have that proves that you served in the military with an honorable discharge or a general discharge, and you get 50% off everything. And what they do is they send you a code. So you'll send them a copy of whatever your documentation is, proof, redacted. If you don't know what that means, it means black out your social security number and any pertinent information. And boom, you're good to go. They will send you a code. That code is good for life. So don't delete it. Save that email, make a post-it note, do something. And you'll be able to download as much as you want, or purchase as much as you want. And it even works when they're having like their damage sale, and like a book is $10, you put in your code, boom, it's now $5. Now you still pay for shipping and handling and all that, which is not much. They're very reasonable. So yeah, that's the two ways you can get it. Or if you want to support the company, you want to pay $29.99, you're not a veteran, you don't feel like downloading the 7th edition, you want to have the latest and greatest, the 8th edition, $29.99 plus tax and shipping. You're done. Player's Handbook. Done. All right. But if you're a GM now, it's a little bit different. That's all you need as a player. You don't have to buy anything else as a player. But if you want to, you can buy the Player's Archive. This is $24.99, so $25. Again, half off if you're a veteran. You can order it. You can also get it cheaper if you want just the PDF. I believe all of their books are available in a PDF if that's all you want. Is just, some people don't like physical books. They take up a lot of room. But you can get just the PDF for, I believe, around half the price or a little bit cheaper. This is the Player's Archive. This expands all the classes. Gives you the 13 standard CNC classes and the rune mark, and unleashes the power of multi-classing, enhanced classes, and switching classes. Create new characters that combine the powers of several classes or breathe life into old characters long used to the campaign trail by switching classes. Expand your game with the expanding classes. So you can add a bunch of more stuff here. Hold on one second. Alexa, turn on office lights. Whoa, pardon the washout there. It's getting a little dark in here. I apologize. It was getting hard for me to read it. And this includes, in the Player's Archive, you will find all the classes presented in the CNC Player's Handbook, the CNC Adventures Backpack, and some from Amazing Adventures in one convenient book. This entry is the entries and character classes are alphabetical for quick and easy reference. $24.99 hardback book, a whopping 128 pages. That includes the OGL, and this will give you all your options for everything that is current in Castles and Crusades. So that's a heck of a buy. And again, you can get this in PDF, keep it on your tablet, your laptop, while you're making your character, in addition to the Player's Handbook that you can either get relative. So I think we've gone over all the various ways to get your copy, so we won't talk about that anymore. But $25, $24.99 will get you Player's Archive with all the core classes that are out as of now. So that's an extra for a player. That's the only 2 books you need, and you only really need the Player's Handbook. So again, you can get into it for dirt cheap. 1 book, you're done. You don't have to buy anything else. You don't have to. You're done. Now, I will say D&D is the same way. Pathfinder is the same way. You buy the core Pathfinder book, you're done. If you want to buy more, you can, but you don't have to. People seem to get caught up in, and I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. People seem to get caught up in, well, they haven't put out anything lately for my game. Okay? Or it's the exact opposite. God, they've come out with another book. There's so many books for this game. You don't have to buy them. Any of these games you can get by with whatever the core books are that are needed to run that game. The other books are completely optional. All of the Pathfinder books that are sitting there, right in there, those are all optional. The only book you absolutely have to have to run Pathfinder is the core rule book. That's it. Everything else is optional. You do not need to buy it. You can only buy the core rulebook and you can have a fantastic game. Same thing goes with Castles and Crusades. Same thing goes with Dungeons and Dragons or any other flavor of game. You just need the core books. If you're going to be a dungeon master, you need the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Monster Manual, and you technically don't need the Player's Handbook, so you only need 2 books. Same thing for Castles and Crusades. If you're the Castle Keeper, aka the Dungeon Master, you need the Castle Keeper's Guide and the Monster Manual, which conveniently, They've combined into 2 books, Monster and Treasure. And this is nice. Now, I will say, in Castles and Crusades, the player's handbook does have a GM section in it. So really, if you wanted to get into this game for uber cheap, all you have to do is buy the player's handbook. It has enough information in there for you to run the game, set up adventures, and play the game. Now, you might want this book because it's going to give you a bunch of monsters. I don't believe in the player's handbook there's any monsters. But you do well to get this. But the nice part is you can go and get a bunch of AD&D monsters for free off the web. There's tons of them, and you could use those, and they would work very much. So, Monster Manual, $49.99. This is a chunky tome. This is 368 pages, hardback. It has some color illustrations in it, and it's a monster manual. It's exactly what you expect. There are monsters and there are stat blocks, and it's the old school D&D number appearing 1, size large, hit dice 5, and then in parentheses the type of hit die, because not every monster uses a D8. In this case, the human giant uses D10s. So 5 D10s. So it's a minimum of 5 hit points, maximum 50. And you can roll this up and blah blah blah. But yeah. So this is another book, $49.99, hardback, gorgeous, really well done. You can't go wrong. And I love the covers. They're very, very evocative covers. So another great book for the player or the castle keeper, but you don't need it. $24.99. The Player's Guide to Erd. Erd is the default setting for Castles and Crusades. So it's basically their version of Earth and the Pantheon and all the monsters and everything that reside in Erd. This is the Player's Guide. So this will give you, the Player's Guide to Erd will help you find a plethora of new gaming material for your Castles and Crusades game designed specifically with the player in mind. Expanded rules for combat, demi-human classes, dwarf, elf, goblin, gnome, and halfling. Equipment, guns, cannons, and more. New spells for all casters, blood runes for the rune mark, gods, and the powers they bequeath, and more guilds. So this is a great book for 25 bucks, man. And it's packed. There is a ton of stuff in here in those 268 pages. And again, very well laid out. Or excuse me, 96 pages. Yeah, 96 pages. There's a nice map. And this, I think, is, yeah, look at that. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous art. Just all kinds of cool stuff in here for you. And stuff for the castle keeper, things for the player. It's a nice one. You give your nice scene to your druid, the white stag. So yeah, tons of good stuff in here, but not needed. You don't need to buy this if you don't want to. If you don't have the funds, you're not obligated to pick this up and use it. It's just a nice to have. Another one for the players and GMs. I count this as a GM book. It's a must-have, a GM book, because a lot of monsters have spells. Adventurer spell book. Now it says adventurer, so obviously it's leaning towards players. $29.99, hardback, 255 pages, 256 with the OGL. Every spell that's out in the game currently is in this. You're good to go. Got all the spells you need. Very well done. Not a whole lot of art in this one. There are some. There's very little art in this one, if I remember correctly. Yeah, literally a couple of black and white drawings. Very cool mage. Yeah. So yeah, not a whole lot of art, but tons of spells. This is a great addition to your arsenal if you're a player and or castle keeper. Now, this one is my toughest sell. This is typically going to be geared towards castle keepers, GMs. Players will get a ton of use out of this book as well, but it's not a player-driven book, and it is the Codex of Erd. This is basically your world almanac. It's going to go over the world and everything that's happened, and it also has a very cool, it comes with a map in the back, which is very cool. And it's hardback. It's 50 bucks, $49.99. And it is 288 pages, including an index, very comprehensive index. If you want to play in the world of Erd, you're looking for an in-depth setting, You don't want to make up your own world. Like, I don't have time to make up my own world. So having something like this is invaluable to me. That someone says, well, what's the pantheon? What's the gods like? I can pull this out and I can, list all the gods and say, boom, here you go. So amazing, amazing. But it's an almanac. There's no adventures in here. There's no player characters in here. This is literally just statistical information on the world. What's the trade routes? What's the commerce that this landmass deals in? What's the political structure? What's the theological environment for this area of the world? It's all in here. It's a very, I hate to say it, it's a dry read. It really is, but it's a fantasy book, so it is interesting if you're into that. But if you're a history buff, if you're a geology or geography buff, you're going to enjoy this book, because it's going to, you read this, you're going to walk away knowing everything you need to know about Aird. So I really appreciate that it's all in one book, and it's very well done. Now, the last book that's is I would say that this is more of a player-centric book than a GM book, but the GM obviously is going to benefit from it well, but it is definitely more of a player-centric book, is The Mystical Companions, and this is $40, $39.99. And it is 187 pages with a very comprehensive index. It has full color art. I think the art is really well done, in my opinion. I really like the art in this one. I definitely feel like printed in the United States. So yeah, it's a little bit thinner book. Like I said, 192 pages. That includes the OGL, for $39.99, but it's hardback, it's stitched, sewn, and glued, and it's color art on the inside. Gorgeous book. This is all about familiars, companions, that kind of thing for your players. You can use it for NPCs as GM. Like I said, it's a more player-centric book, but I think it's an amazing book if you're playing. Even have rules in here if you want to play a monk and you want to get a animal companion or a companion. It's in here. So it's not a must-have by any way, shape, or form, but it is a great book, and I think if you have the cashola, pick it up. It is going to add to your game. Now, the last set of books, I think I have 5 books left. These are really cool, and again, these are in no need. You have to have them. They are extras that just add flavor to your game. So cheers. Oh, and by the way, you can get your Codex Caltorium mug off of the same website. I just like that. They were having a sale. I got that mug for like $5, and I love it. Nice thick glass mug. I bought this one on their scratch and dent sale. It's the leather cover of Codex Egyptium, and you can see there's little smudges, like it got scratched or something, but it's not bad. There's a little deeper one up here, but again, I mean, you can see them with your eye if you're a nitpicky person like me, and I love the silver, and it is embossed. This is beautiful. The back is flawless, actually. There's a little rubbing down here in the corner, but it's even got the silver on the side. And these are, I think all of these are done by Brian Young. Yeah, they are. I think they're printed in the United States. So again, you're winning brownie points in my book. We are looking at 127 pages, mostly black and white art. The art is fantastic. You can see. So what are the codexes? The codexes are, you're a history buff, you're a geography buff, you are a ancient civilization buff. These are the books that allow you to bring whatever geographical location is your jam into your Castles and Crusades game. So in this case, Egypt. So there's all the gods in here, the Egyptian gods. So you want to increase the pantheon of the world of Aird. You can now add all of the pantheons in Egypt. And by the way, Brian Young is a historian. I believe he has his doctorate or his master's in history. The guy knows what he's talking about. He does his research and he writes these books. They are phenomenal. Like I said, these are not needed, but if you want to add, the Egyptian gods to your game, Osiris, you can do it. And there's just tons of information in here. Really, really well done. Just all kinds of new monsters for the area, and the monsters are amazing, by the way. Egyptian monsters. So here is the Tabaharat. It's basically like a ghost mummy. I can't say enough good things. Super cool. So this one I bought on their scratch and dent sale. I got it for 50% off, and then 50% off of that with my veterans discount. So I'm not gonna tell you, I felt a little dirty doing that, because I felt, God, they're already giving me 50% off. But you know what? Money's tight for everybody, and they wouldn't have. My opinion is they wouldn't have made the sale or given me the discount if they didn't want me to use it, and they wouldn't price the book at the point, So I think I got this book for, I think, $10 after discounts and everything. I've got a stray hair here. I can see it's driving me nuts. And it's leather, guys. It's beautiful. I mean, it just pops. It pops. So I'm a GM. I got this and I devoured it. I read it in a night. I'm very happy with it. All right. Now, a little special shout out here. The next 4 books were sent to me by a player that is about to start in my Castles and Crusades, the World of Aird game that will start this coming Wednesday on my Discord, and I'm using Foundry. I'm working with, I think it's 42 Squirrels or 24 Squirrels, the guy that's developing the CNC rule set. And now I apologize, this is a little bit longer video, so if you haven't figured it out by now, this obviously is all about Castles and Crusades. So if it's not your cup of tea, you've probably clicked on already. But for those that are fans of Castles and Crusades, I hope I do homage to this video, and I hope you enjoy it. And as always, put down in the notes down there what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see covered next. I do read all the notes. But anyway, Danny boy, Runebeard, on the forums, on the Discord forums for my Discord and for Chivalry and Sorcery. He is known as Runebeard. Danny is a player. He is playing a dwarf cleric. He's got an awesome character. We're starting. I've got 6 players. They're all going to be level 1, and we're playing through the first box set. I haven't even talked about these. There's so much stuff. In the Shadow of Ostrag. This is a box set. I did an unboxing of these. Go back in the doobly-doo and watch them. But we're playing this adventure first. And I'm using Dungeon Alchemy to create the maps, because there are no Foundry-based maps or Foundry support. No official Foundry support for Castles and Crusades in Foundry. Except for, like I said, the guys at Troll Games are working with a gentleman to make an official Foundry module. And so I'm helping there, and I'm providing feedback and stuff like that. So anyway, these next 4 codexes were sent to me out of the graciousness of Runebeard. So, sir, high and mighty and very, very heartfelt huzzah to you, Trollza, for sending these to me. He sent these to me of his own volition, his own dollar, spent his own money out of his pocket. He's a fellow grognard like me. He's like barely 6 months older than me. I think he just turned 56. So yeah, he's pretty awesome. I'm enjoying my conversations with him, and he's retired, the lucky bum. But he was nice enough to send these to me. So these are pretty much like Codex Egyptian, or however you want to say it. Egyptium. They are setting specific to that geographical location, and they will give you all the information you need to port that flavor into your Castles and Crew game. So if you're really big into the Slavic history, you can get the Codex Slavorium, and you can play with all the monsters and the Pantheons and everything, just like the Egyptian book. This is going to give you everything you need. This is $20. It's a little bit thinner. There's not a whole bunch of material in here, but what is in here is gold, and it's 96 pages. Printed in the USA, again, written by Mr. Brian Young. Fantastic writer, by the way. Really well done. The art in here, I think, is, I mean, look at that. I mean, this is your Slavics, you know, really well done. The art is a little more heavy on the black and white art, but it is cool. And it goes over magic, goes over monsters, everything you need in here to bring your game and to make this setting viable in your Castles and Crusades game. So this is the first book that Runebeard sent me. So, and it's in perfect condition. I mean, corners are a little dinged, but it's not the end of the world. It happened in shipping, but they are in great shape. They're basically brand new, and I love every single one of them. So we've got my favorite, because, well, I'm half German, half Native American, Codex Germania. Now, on the bottom, it says, or in the back, it says Codex Slavorium. So, is there a mistake? I don't know. You tell me. I think, but it could be part of that world. But it does say Codex Germania unearths the mythological realms of the ancient Germans. So, yeah, everything in here you need to play in Germania is here. The art is fantastic. Again, $20. I think 96 pages, 98 pages, somewhere right around there. Oh, 112 pages, including the OGL. So a couple more pages. Then you have Codex Nordica. Fantastic. You want your Vikings. You want your Norsemen. You want all your the not Greek gods, but the Norse gods. Odin, Thor, Loki, Brunhild. They're all in here. Again, $27.99, so a little bit cheaper. And it's 138 pages. Awesome. So you'll notice they're all about the same page content, but the prices are fluctuating. That is because they're printing in the U.S. where, you know, the dollar is, shall we say, unstable at best. And so 1 month, you know, they typically do a Kickstarter for these, and then it's whatever the going rate for printing is. So this one's $29.99. This is Codex Classicum. This is basically your Roman. You want to play in the Roman era. I guess, yeah, Greek, Roman, Greek. 144 pages, including the OGL, so slightly higher page count, but $29.99. So that is pretty much everything. There's a couple other things they have. They have a map pack. They send it to you very well packed. It is in a tube, and it comes with all the World of Erd and a bunch of, like, I think 2 or 3 smaller, like 2x2 maps, and then a big standard postage size map of the world, and it is phenomenal. I do have it. I don't even know where it is. I think it's hidden. Yeah, it's right here. I'm not going to take them out, but you can see they sent it to me in a nice tube. You know, so, and it's about 3 feet wide, and there's a lot of maps in there, so it is awesome. And then, like I said, they have their box sets, and I have all 3 of them for the Off-Strag adventure. It's about, I think, 16, maybe 17 adventures. You can buy them separately as PDFs or physical product off of their website. Excuse me. Or you can buy the box sets. I thought it was a better bang for the buck for the box sets. I really like it because it puts 3 or 4 adventures. And this is a box set. And some of them come with maps and little handouts. And then they come with, like in this case, the big thick book. So this is $24.99, and it's 176 pages, including the OGL, and really well done. This is a dungeon crawl, and this takes your players from level 1 to level 3 or 4, I think. It doesn't really say, but I believe it'll jump you up to level 4. I think is the highest this will go. And then the second box set is like 4 to 8, or 4 to 7. And then the third box set is like levels 8 to 12. Because there's typically only 12 levels in Castles and Crusades. And then it can go higher, but that's the support they give you. The other thing they have that's super cool is they have the Adventuring Backpack equipment cards. This is a standard deck of playing cards. There's nothing fancy about it. It's your standard cards, but instead of having the shopping experience that everybody loves so much, I know I am not a big fan of it in my games. You can get these, and it has the gold cost, it has the contents, it has the value and the encumbrance value on it. So your players can just go through this and go, okay, I want this, and they can take a moment to write it all down. They can take a picture of it with their smartphones, whatever. What I did for the Foundry game is I scanned this. I took a picture of it, a nice clear picture, imported it into my Foundry game, and made it into a journal entry. And so all the players, if they had enough gold, which I think everybody did except one player, he rolled real crappy on the gold, but he did buy the things he needed, so he's not left out. But every player decided to buy this, and it's 50 gold pieces. So now I put that compendium up. They have access to it as players, so they can see it and they can do what they need to do with it. So just made it a little bit easier, so we don't have to spend 2 hours going through the book, and not everybody has access to the book. So then I've got to flip through the book. You guys know the general story. So I'm sorry this video's gone a little bit longer, but I really wanted to hopefully get across my enthusiasm and my love of this game. I think it plays really well. The rules are clear and concise. There's not a whole lot of, oh, let me check on that rule. It's cut and dry. This is what happens. I like that in the game. I don't want a ton of rules to get in my way, but I also want enough rules to educate for most instances. And I feel that Castles and Crusades by Troll Games does just that. So if it sounds like I'm gushing and I'm fanboying for Castles and Crusades, it's because I am. I love a strong, somewhat dark fantasy setting, and this game has it. I mean, is it as dark as like Warhammer or Zweihander? No, it's not. But is it darker than D&D? It can be. I think it's on the same level as Pathfinder and D&D. I really do. I think it's very, if you love D&D, if you like that hack and slash, kick the door in, kill the monsters, take their loot, this is the game for you. I think it has better mechanics than D&D. I think it's obviously better supported. The quality of books is always top notch. Hopefully that came across in my video. If you feel it did, go shoot the guys over at Troll Games. Hop on their Discord and say, hey, Mr. Mean did a video and it was awesome. It would mean a lot to me, and I really appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up, obviously, like and subscribe. A huge shout out again to Danny, aka Runebeard, on the forums for sending me those books. A huge shout out to all the guys over at Troll Games for just being super awesome and amazing customer service and quality. Printing in the U.S., supporting veterans, all the things that are near and dear to me that I care about. Guys, if you're looking for a good, fantasy, high fantasy, cool magic items, this game has got it. The Monster and Treasure book has a plethora of treasure items in it that you can stock your dungeons with. In the Shadow of the Ostrag, I like it because the adventure gives you magical items and treasures and potions in the adventure. It's like it's a fully fleshed out dungeon, and I made the actual dungeons for Foundry in Dungeon Alchemy. I've made the first level of the dungeon. I have to go make the second level of the dungeon. So there's a minor spoiler for my players. If they watch this video, they're going to know that there's 2 levels to the dungeon, but that's okay. It's a meat grinder. I'm fully expecting to lose a player or two, but we'll see. It's going to be some excellent opportunities for some good role playing. There's a lot of NPCs in the little town that they're going to go to that they can interact with, and I made little compendium journal notes for me as a GM that only I can see in it, so that I can get the inflections and the tones of the players right. I have set up an integrated Sirenscape into my game so that I can have music in the background and just click it and get the music I want at that moment. So I'm very excited about that. So hopefully it's going to be good. I'm hoping my streaming setup keeps evolving. As you can see, I have the new Rode microphone, and I'm very happy with it. It sounds excellent, and it allows me to move around and be very animated as I am as I talk. If you've watched my videos in the past, I usually had a was over there, I think I put it away. I had a blue snowball microphone, excellent snowball. But it's a directional microphone. So if you turn and you're talking this way, and the microphone's right here, my audio fades out, and I'm so animated when I talk, and I'm a spaz. We all know it. That it gets bad, and you can't. Sometimes the audio quality is bad. I think with the last couple of videos I've used the Rode, and it's worked great. The one problem I'm having is when I have other people connected for some reason through OBS and the Rode software that integrates with OBS, they're not able to hear me or I can't hear their audio or something. I don't know. We got to figure it out. So I'm going to do some more playing. We had session 0 last Wednesday. That went well. We got all the characters made except one. This Wednesday will be our first session, and we're going to play. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm hoping for good things. I'm going to go do some more campaign prep. I need to make that second level of the dungeon before Wednesday. I doubt we're going to even get to the dungeon this first session, but I want to be prepared and have all the lighting and everything set up. So guys, thank you so much for taking this amount of time. I'm sure I've gone close to an hour. I apologize, but I hope it shows you the quality, the breadth of quality and attention to detail, and the products that are available if you're looking for a better world, and you're not a huge D&D fan, or you're not tied into the D&D ecology of gaming, the ecosystem, whatever you want to call it, that maybe Castles and Crusades, for your money, for your time, and for your effort, may be the better choice. And I think it's very well represented in the products that they make available for you. And like I said, you don't even have to buy them all. Sure, there's other companies like Pathfinder has, the monster cards, and they have the digest size books and everything like that. And those are all nice to have, but you don't need them. If your game is not giving you the feels that you want, look for another game. That's the way it works. And I highly recommend you give Castles and Crusades, a look. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised if you want an in-depth world, and you like that, deep, dark setting. The world of Arid is definitely not as dark as the old world of Warhammer, but I think it's a little bit darker than D&D. I think it's very well represented, and of course you've got all those codexes that you can bring in. If you like Slavic, if you like German, if you like Egyptian, if you like Roman, you could bring one of those in, or bring them all in. And they also have they're on Kickstarter right now for the Chinese one, so you can bring wuxia, you can bring martial arts and all that stuff in ancient China. You can bring all the Chinese mythologies and the Asian mythology. I think they're going to do a separate Japanese book, which I'll be all over that one, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, you can pretty soon you'll be able to bring the Chinese mythology and world setting into your world of Arid if you so desire. So again, I hope this answers any questions. If you have any questions whatsoever about the world of Arid or Castles and Crusades or anything like that revolves around this video, please put them in the notes down below. I will endeavor to answer them as best I can. I want to give you a huge thank you. If you made it this far in the video, you are a trooper. You have passed your stamina test to listen to Mr. Mean drone on about games. It is my passion, it is my love, and it is my hobby. So thank you so much for spending your time with me on this Saturday afternoon. As always, we'll do a little housekeeping. The video is done. You can feel free to click away, but if you want to stay around, big, huge thank you to my Patreons. Without them, this is not possible. They help keep the channel going. They helped pay for this Rode microphone system, which I am loving. It works great. And I'm getting ready to do a drawing. I've got a couple of game books that I'll be shipping out probably Monday. I'm going to do a drawing, and I'm going to see who wins. And they will get some game product courtesy of Mr. Mean. It costs you $5 a month, 5 simoles, 5 smackers, 5 crackers, however you want to call it. And that gets you a drawing. Every couple of months I do a drawing for my Patreons to give back for them helping to support the channel. So $5 a month is hopefully not too much. Obviously I don't want you to donate if it takes food off your table, but if you have the discretionary income and you like what I do and you want to see more, it's a great way to support the channel. I'm also on PayPal. I'm not. I closed my PayPal account. But I'm on Zelly Pay. If you're in the U.S. and you have a bank account that supports mobile phones, you can always send me money that way. Information is in the doobly-doo. What else? Discord. Yeah, I think that's it, everybody. Join the Discord. Come chat with me. I run games. My Patreons get first dibs at the games. And then if there's space left over, then I open it up to everybody else, and I'll usually go post like on Facebook. I also have a Facebook page. There's a link down in the doobly-doo for a Facebook group. So go join that. If you're more of a Facebook guy than a Discord guy, you're more than welcome to join me there. And I post pretty regularly there as well. So I'm going to wrap this video up. I am going to get it. I don't do a whole lot with editing, but there's a conversion process to upload it to YouTube. So I hope you've enjoyed it. And like I said, if you have any questions, shoot me a message. I try to answer everything. Hit me up on Discord. Hit me up on Facebook. I have a Mr. Mean Speaks group on Facebook. Hit me up there, or put a note down in the video below, and I will endeavor to do my best to answer your question. As always, peace and hair grease, and remember, please be nice.